That's a life of a fisherman you wouldn't understand. Something you can't feel on dry land. Gotta get your arms way up in a cage and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. Gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-Loomis trying to bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck, give it a whirl. Hello, welcome to my world.
What's going on, all you Facebook Live and YouTube Live fishing freaks? Hope you guys are out there on the water a little bit. JR, check that studio chat. Apparently I can't put it all in there. Just a little overview of what's going to have to happen or what we're going to talk about this evening. We have 6 people online already. Thank you guys for joining this early in the episode. We are going to be talking bass fishing in Ohio this time of year, transitional period from post-spawn into like really peak summer months. And then now we're starting to get some cooler nights, some cooler days. 2 weeks ago was really awesome. Without further ado, this episode brought to you by none other than Hannah Sublett, insurance broker, protecting your health, securing your future. Give her a call at 740-456-7944. If you are interested in getting some life or health insurance, she'll definitely hook you up. Again, as I mentioned before, she can sell insurance in Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and she will shop for your best rates. So it's good to have that stuff. So again, brought to you by Hannah Sublett, insurance broker, protecting your health, securing your future. 740-456-7944. Larry Slack in the house. What's up, bro? Talked to a few people this week about some fishing. JR and I did some fishing last week. So we'll dive into that too. Without further ado, again, I guess we can start with that. It's getting closer to the end of the summer, and the reason I can tell that is because I have to go back to school tomorrow. I've had in-service days for the last 2 days. I've talked, I've done a lot of fishing this year. I haven't done as much as I normally do, just for the simple fact that, man, like around this area, it's been really, really, really daggone tough. I've been to Grayson several times, been to Yatesville several times. I fished the river a ton, which I don't mind fishing the river. And I talked about that the other day. It's so close to us, 5 minutes practically from both of us. So we got out. But we went out and fished with the Marathon Bass League last Thursday. JR was on call, and he rarely gets to fish those tournaments unless we have service. So we got out there and done some fishing. And we made a really long run. Ran from Virginia Point all the way down to Little Sandy, which I don't know exactly how far that is. I'm guessing that's probably 20 miles, I would say. I'm not sure the way the crow flies. But it's a pretty good jaunt. Went down there and ended up finding some fish on it's a replica of the tackle box spinnerbait. It's just a 1/4 ounce spinnerbait with a gold blade that I make myself now. Greg Drown kind of popularized it and called it the Goldie. It's got a gold blade, gold skirt, and it absolutely catches them on the river. JR, I can't remember what all you were throwing. What I think you got yours like drop shot and
drop shot mostly, man. I love the drop shot. I mean, period. But on the river, I think it's great. Caught one on the old wacky rig under some docks that we found, and then broke my leader and said, "Screw that." I think I caught a couple 2 shorts on a chatterbait, and most everything else was on drop shot. Drop shot was definitely the best one for me.
Yeah, I think I caught some on that spinnerbait, obviously, but I think my Texas rig bait that I was throwing at the time was just a standard Zoom speed crawl and green pumpkin. I mentioned that before on other episodes. Like if I'm going to pick a bait to take on the river, a Texas rig is definitely going to be some kind of crawl style bait. It's really tough to beat that really sleek profile of that Zoom speed crawl. Obviously, you can fish any color you want to as long as it's green pumpkin, buddy. So that's the deal. But we ended up having a limit, a very small limit. We had like right at 5 pounds. And we ended up finishing third place, I think. We had a couple fish come off. We didn't fish clean. But we found most of our fish around, as Gerald put it the other day, and I really didn't think of it, but it's true, man-made structure. Docks, barge pillars, around like sunken docks that I knew where we're at. We could find stuff around that. We fished grass. The tournament was like 5 hours, and we probably fished grass for 2.5 hours of that and never caught a fish in the grass. I lied. We caught one fish. The very first fish I caught was on the edge of the very first grass patch we pulled up to.
It's and probably like your third cast, yeah.
We fished grass for the next 2.5 hours. Spinnerbait, Texas rig, drop shot, you name it. Couldn't get bit. I don't know if they were way up in the grass because we weren't actually pitching or punching the grass. It's really shallow. Water temperature out there last week, I think, was like 86 degrees, if memory serves me correctly. It was pretty hot. They're not pulling a lot of water. I think that's due to the fact that we're not getting a lot of rain. I do believe that tomorrow in this area it's supposed to rain a little bit. It's supposed to be showers in the morning and then pop up thunderstorms in later in the afternoon. So hopefully that will kind of cool the water down a little bit, get some water flowing on the river, and get back out there. The Marathon Bass League fishes this week at Yatesville Lake. They fish, I think, from 5 to 10 on stuff like that. If it's the Ohio River, they come in about 9:30 due to the fact of barge traffic, and it's a lot farther to run and all that stuff. And you may be fishing somewhere where somebody isn't, so they do cut it off a little bit early. We had a good time last week, in my opinion. I'm speaking for JR2, but I think we did. We ran out, knock on wood, but my boat seems to be running all right, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I mean, I feel like every time I get on the river, I have a good time. I mean, I think some of it's expectation. I don't expect to catch a 5-pounder on the river. I expect to catch a 2-pounder, 3-pounder on the river, and go through a lot of small fish, which, shoot, man, it's fun. Like, we caught a lot of fish. I mean, a lot of them. We caught a lot of spotted bass, which I'm never going to complain about. They're aggressive, they're fun to catch, and they're beautiful animals, period.
Yeah, so I agree with that. So if we kind of break down what we're going to talk about today, and that is basically late summer bass in and around Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia. If we kind of paint the late summer Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia scene in lakes and rivers and everything around here, there's a few things that pop up in my mind. One of those is wake boats. The next one is jet skis and things like that. But on a lighter note, looking at that late summer bass fishing idea here within our area, the water's going to start cooling off. You're going to start having some of that seasonal bass behavior. And we're going to talk about some of the hot baits that we use during that type of year, the best type of water to look for. And we're going to look forward to, look ahead to fall and what we have coming up. This time of year in our area in Ohio, or where I'm at, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia border here, it gets fairly hot. I mean, I saw it last week, and I know, obviously because it was sitting there and all that stuff, but my truck said 111 degrees in the dash when I started my truck up, which is crazy.
That's
Larry Slack is correct. We got the River Rat coming up. It's always the first weekend of October. River Valley Bass Club has taken that over, and they do an excellent job. Speaking of which, I do know there's one topic here that I want to talk about, and we kind of talked about it last week. But we had a meeting with, as you guys know, or maybe you don't know, I'm part of the steering committee, if you will. I'm just a local avid user of the boat ramp here in Coal Grove. So the Coal Grove mayor, Andy Holmes, asked me to be a part of this steering committee just to give my thoughts and my inputs about what's going to happen with the boat ramp. Well, I'm happy to say that we met last week via Zoom last Thursday, had a really cool meeting with the engineers and the people that are actually putting the project on. And we come up with an interesting phase 1 plan. And I am hopeful that that's done before the River Rat. Now, that's not, it's kind of not in the cards for the way that it's going to work out. The ramp will still be there. just like it is normally. Obviously, if it's not done, it won't take a ton of time to do what they're going to do with it. But phase one of the project that I'm super thankful for and really cool that it's happening here in Cold Grove is that they're building what's going to be the best ramp in our area. Now, they're not changing anything to do with the boat ramp, period. Like, the boat ramp is going to be the same. We can't do anything. We can't do anything that touches the water line. We have to spend the money that's from the water line up. So, phase number one, we're getting right now, the engineers are putting together a bid package for people in the area to bid on these jobs. Because it's a government-funded project, you have to do that in the way that it works. So they're going to put this out, but phase one of the project, they're going to pave all of what's gravel right now. They're going to widen the road as much as they possibly can without getting into banks and stuff and kind of risking water runoff and bank slippage. Because to the left of the road going into that ramp is the water treatment plant and Cold Grove sewer plant right there. So obviously you don't want that stuff like slipping off the hill and being in Ice Creek. That's not, obviously that would be no bueno. But they're going to pave from the gate right now that's gravel all the way, and they're going to take out every one of those grass humps that are going to be there. There's like 5 or 6 grass humps right now. It just takes up parking spots. We've looked at it in a best case scenario where we're going to try to have as many parking spots as possible that are like 50 some foot long for boat trailers. And it's going to be dedicated to being a boat ramp, as opposed to like Ashland's boat ramp is a port that's dedicated to where people can go eat ice cream and watch the river. We're, according to my thoughts on it, is that the idea is that we want to cater to those people using the boat ramps like we all are here locally in the area, which is great. Getting rid of all those dirt mounds, we're going to pave all those, pave the parking lot, pave the road all the way back to where the gate starts, and they're going to make some overflow parking around, like past the boat ramp. And then they're going to put a really nice lighting package in there so it lights up the area really well. You don't have to worry about people coming down there and messing with your stuff if you're fishing early in the morning or late at night. And also, I've asked for them to put an actual light on the pole like that the floating dock is on. So it will actually shine down onto the ramp, because one of the biggest things with the Cold Grove ramp right now, once you get to the top of the ramp and you start going down, it's just like pitch dark. It's pitch black there at night. So there will be a light shining down directly on the boat ramp slip there. So that's coming. I hope it's done by the River At, which again is the first full weekend of October. Which, by the way, there's sign-ups for that stuff. I think at Borders, there's definitely one at Chris Malone's. You can get a hold of somebody like Larry Slack is a member of the River Valley Bass Club. So it was always a great deal when we ran it, and when Mike Drummond ran it for 30 years before that. It's a great tournament. A lot of great fishermen there, but hopefully that stuff takes and gets done before that. Now, there's not anything we can do about it at this point. The best thing we can offer is that we have to bid this thing out for 2 weeks, and then however long the person who gets the bid takes to do it will be the problem. And the issue with that is that we're getting really close to the end of paving season, right? We can't pave when it gets really cold, so that's coming soon.
I mean, just paving that is a huge deal, man. I mean, that's kind of the biggest negative to me. I remember going up there and being like, I gotta go through all this gravel, and it looks kind of sketchy. And if there's 2 boats coming, there's no way you can get past. And I mean, a lot of the ramps on the river are kind of rough, so that makes me pretty happy.
Yeah, so like I said, and I'm not trying to be facetious here or because it's my hometown. It's easily going to be the nicest ramp within the area. Virginia Point is decent. If it needs dredged, the left-hand side of the ramp is just a beach. Ashland's ramp is just,
as I found out.
Yeah, Ashland's ramp is pretty much non-existent. You got 1 lane there, and you got to park way up on top of the hill. Ironton's boat ramp, I still don't know why they did this, but it used to be back in the in the 90s or early 2000s, you would make a loop, and there was a secondary road that went down. So you would go down and make a loop and drive down this other road, and then you could back your trailer in there. Well, they got rid of that and put a cul-de-sac type thing at the end of it, and it's not big enough for you to turn a boat in there really. And there's people always parked in that cul-de-sac, eating and watching the river and stuff right there. So, matter of fact, a buddy of mine, we were out on the river, and I guess he had some words with some dude that was just parked right in the middle of it the other day, and he was trying to get his boat out of the water, and the guy just is sitting there. But so I think, well, I have to kind of refrain and rephrase that, because the folks there in Greenup, Kentucky, whoever the folks were that were over that, whether that was Greenup's mayor or whatever, the Little Sandy boat ramp right now is awesome. They've done awesome things with that. Courtesy dock, repaved all that stuff. It's amazing. Got a lot of lights and stuff in there. So, down that way, I think, Little Sandy is a great place. But down our way, definitely Ohio, or in the Ohio side here, the Ohio boat ramp is going to be, or the Coal Grove boat ramp is going to be the berries for sure.
That's exciting, man. I mean, I hope it works out and is kind of a safe place, because, the river can be pretty daggone dangerous. It's one of those things that you don't know until you realize, Brian's on here saying Virginia Point is getting a dock very soon. That's really cool. I had no clue. I'd never been there, and we were taken out, and I thought it was a 3-lane boat ramp. So there was a guy in the middle, so I went on the far left side, and I went back and had Tyler's trailer, and the back left wheel was up and the other one back right was underwater. So I was like, this probably isn't going to work out. So we had to angle it a little bit,
Yeah, back to Carl Hunt's comment there about Shawnee. Shawnee does have a really good boat ramp. It's just kind of a walk when you I think it's like 4 lanes that you can put your boats in there, but you got to walk up on the hill to park. It's a great place. I like it. It's just kind of all it is. Wheelersburg boat ramp is not that bad if you have somebody to help you put in. There's nowhere really to put your boat to hang out there, and being directly below the dam is usually pretty turbulent. And matter of fact, on my pleasure boat, my Rinker, there's a quarter-size chunk of fiberglass that's out of it, and it's been that way since 2003. My dad was putting the boat in the water with his wife, and he told her to hold the boat away from the dock there. She did not. He came back, and it was just sitting there, just crashing against the wall, like fiberglass laying everywhere.
BOAT,
but bust out another 1,000.
Having a woman help you, period, is a nice thing, because I have certainly never experienced that on the water, but
Let's see. What's up, Marty? I am not fishing. I didn't fish any of the Casting for Kids, but I'm pretty sure Jared is going to.
Yeah, I'm going to fish with Jared Sloan. We fish the. I actually can do it from 2 ways. I did both the Tennessee and the Kentucky one. So I'm going to fish with Jared, who I did the Kentucky with, and it's some pretty strict rules, especially for somebody that does not know Chickamauga well. That's the one thing that I would say to Chris is, it's a little bit of a bummer that it's there's that 1 month like where you can't be on the water, can't get information, stuff like that. But it is what it is. I know the people that know the lake really well are going to be kind of have an advantage because of that. But, I'm going down there to have fun and, support Casting for Kids.
It should be fire, man, that time of year. Chickamauga is a hammer hole anyway. And it all goes back to, I feel like that the F1 stuff right now is kind of like the new forward-facing sonar, especially in our area, which we'll get back to in just a second. But, that's a prime example of something that is, it's a success story with F1,
Oh, the whole TVA. The whole TVA, man.
Marty, I'm doing well, man. I cannot complain. Got to go back to school tomorrow, but we can't all be the same. We can't all, I've got plenty of time off the summertime to get back at it.
Yeah, I'm going to bring a really strong frog rod and just shoot for the fences, and hopefully I catch 5 5-pounders.
What dates is
Gotcha.
that again? Anyway,
What is it?
what dates is that, or what date is that? It's like October,
I
right?
think it's the 18th and 19th, if I'm not mistaken. And let me pull it up on here. And you can't, it's got that strict, you can't get information, you can't discuss anything, kind of like the one up here, but you can pre-fish. I'm sorry if that came out wrong, Marty. You can pre-fish, but you can't, like, you know, hey buddy, how is so and so spot a month before, up to, like, no outside information, which, you know, on such a big fishery, I don't think that it matters, but honestly, half the time you do that and ask people, and it doesn't help you out anyway.
Well, I mean,
17th and 18th,
yeah. So I mean, I've been to Chickamauga 5 times, I think, and I'm always there in the springtime, and I've caught some decent fish there. I've not caught like the giant, like F1 8 to 10 pounders that are in there, but I've seen several. Matter of fact, I think Jared caught one that was like 9.5 pounds down there or something. It was a giant.
I'd love to get my hands on one of them. Jeez Louise.
Rules on the 17th. Oh yeah, rules meeting on 17th, tournaments 18th and 19th.
And the question will be on the lie detector test. Yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee it. Like, you know, it's just like, so it's like, who was it? Anthony Gagliardi, or who was it the other day that got his? It wasn't like Gagliardi, but who was that?
They got in trouble on it or what?
Yeah, so I don't know if it was. Maybe it wasn't an Elite Series. I think it was MLF, wasn't it? No, it was at St. Clair this past week.
Mm-hmm. McKinney is the one that won. Trey McKinney.
Yeah, he won it, but there was a guy that got DQ'd, and we'll talk about it in just a second. Just for the simple fact of you guys may go. Oh, it was Ed Loughran that got DQ'd. So
information.
No. The long and short of it is that when you go to Lake St. Clair, depending on where you're at, and there's no real like buoys or different like things that show you, but you potentially have to have 3 different fishing licenses when you're fishing in and around Lake St. Clair. Obviously, the United States, Michigan fishing license is the only one you can have. So you could fish, I guess, most of the Detroit River with an Ohio fishing license, but you get over into Canada, obviously got to have a Canadian fishing license. And there's an island there called Walpole Island, and it's a Indian reservation, or Native American reservation, I guess, to be politically correct. And they require you to have a special license to fish in and around that Walpole Island. Well, he got DQ'd, and they came to him, like the Walpole police, I guess, come up. So just to read his actual post. So again, this is Ed Loughran's post. He says, so my weight today at St. Clair got disqualified. I fished an area of the main St. Clair River channel across from the northern end of Harson's Island, Russell Island, across from Algonac, Michigan. I've been fishing up here for more than 10 years, and I incorrectly thought the main river channel was Canadian waters, for which I had my card and license. Per the Walpole Nation DNR police that pulled up my boat, Canada and the Walpole tribe share, that's in quotes, share the river, at least one side of it, depending on where you are, for some distance off the eastern shore of the river, but sometimes also off the western bank. Yeah. The one side that I saw today, which said no fishing or hunting, was on a stake about 50 feet off the bank on the extreme northern tip of Walpole Island. But despite what I thought, that apparently is not the boundary. I didn't realize that, unlike most places I've been, that you don't have to go into the bank or into a creek or bay or other entrance in the Walpole area to be in it for fishing or pleasure craft purposes. I now know all of this, and despite my assumptions from my experience in Lake St. Clair, I should have done more research in preparation of this tournament, so I would not have made this mistake. Additionally, if anyone was wondering, there's no fishing license reciprocity for the U.S. with U.S. or Canada. The Walpole police were nice, didn't give me a ticket, and let me buy a license. When I reported what had happened to Bass, understandably, my weight was zeroed out for the day.
And I feel like they are like catching so much like flack about how strict they are being, man. I mean, there's all the crap from earlier with other fishermen, and now this. I read about this too. I completely forgot about it, Tyler. Like, I don't think anybody was beating Trey McKinney, whatever. Like, the dude is incredible. But to go up there, spend all that money, all that time, and then to have your weights zeroed, I mean, that just really, really sucks. I mean, I know we've talked about this so many times, Tyler, but like every time there's things going on at the same time, like they're on St. Clair, so I was watching Bassmaster, but MLF was on Saginaw Bay, and I'm like, golly, wouldn't it be just great if we had Trey McKinney versus Jason Wheeler on this right now? And I just feel like it's time. I don't know if there's much movement at all. Maybe it's just in my head, but there needs to be the elitist of the elite. Like, you don't watch Major League Baseball and the National Baseball Association. You don't watch both. We should have the best people in the country fishing against one another. I think if you take the best things out of both leagues, I mean, it would be incredible to watch.
I agree, and I'm going to get you guys' thoughts on this because I was kind of torn on it, and it had nothing to do with it had something to do with the pros, but this was not a pro aspect. I'm a member of a Facebook group called like Original St. Clair Fishing Reports or something, whatever it is, dude. But it's just a group of freaking complainers on there. Sure, it is nothing more than just people running people down. But I read an interesting comment from this dude, and personally, I know what I would have done, but I'm interested to see what you guys would have done. This dude was fishing Anchor Bay, which is where, I don't know, I guess 70%, at least 50% of the anglers were in and around the area of Anchor Bay. This dude was out fishing this spot, and apparently it was the spot that Trey McKinney had been fishing all week, and Trey McKinney came up to him, idled up to him, and asked him if he would, kind of leave the fish alone because he's been there all week. And the guy basically just told him F you and just kept fishing in and around him. I mean, I understand where he's coming from to an extent. This guy said, I pay my licenses just like he does. I'm out there fun fishing, with my family, whatever. And I agree that he has the right to be there. I'm not saying that he does not. He has every right to be there. But I don't know I don't know that I could not have moved. I mean, these guys are fishing for $100,000. Yeah. I get to the situation where I'm kind of, I'm out there just fun fishing. Lake St. Clair is giant. There's fish all over that thing. So if he would have come up to me and said, "Hey man, can you move?" I'd be like, "Yeah, as long as you're on my On Another Line podcast next week after you win."
Yeah, I mean, I read that exact same one, Tyler. I guess that's like been gone nuts because it was Trey McKinney, and that's who won. And I mean, he won by a landslide. The dude was absolutely incredible, which it's wild to me to see so many people, jighead minnowing there. Just because, I mean, the water's so rough a lot of the times. I mean, those guys are just incredible. But not only was that guy, Trey McKinney in the, most likely going to win at that point when that guy posted that, but he's also first in points for Angler of the Year, or tied for first in points in Angler of the Year. So I don't know how much that is, but I'm sure it's a huge amount.
I mean, it's just like, obviously mentioned about Jacob Wheeler. I mean, Jacob Wheeler just won another tournament and already wrapped up the Angler of the Year for this year for them.
Oh yeah,
like he's just
that's what I'm saying, dude. Like
freaking machine.
He's got it. He's got MLF. Nobody can touch him. So, it makes it not as fun to watch. I mean, if I know Wheeler's going to win every event, it doesn't make me want to watch it as much. I'm sorry, but I like Jason Wheeler. I think he is an incredible fisherman. I really wish I could watch Jason, or I wish I could watch Wheeler and McKinney and Gustafson and
the Johnson brothers.
Yeah, and Brent Ayler and all these guys come together.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, it's a money thing. Like Jacob Wheeler and everybody. I mean, if you switch sports here and you look at UFC, that's the hot topic right now when it comes to sports. Dana White just signed a $7.7 billion deal with Paramount Plus.
Unreal, man.
$7.7 billion to have exclusive rights to show UFC fights.
Yeah.
Dude, that is absolutely insane. It's nuts. But yeah, that team tournament there on the 23rd on Dewey, man, I like Dewey, but I just don't know it well enough to. I'm sure that thing's probably $100 or so to get in. I'd love to come down and fish it, but I'll just be donating the money at that point. Yeah, dude, I tell you one thing, Matt is my spirit animal, dude. That dude,
he's such a likable guy.
I don't know if you saw it today. If you guys saw, what's up, Tony? Dude, they are sweet, man. But I just, golly, it's a I don't know. I lived in houses cheaper.
Yeah.
But Matt is one of my favorite anglers because he plays off the the central Kentucky, Cuttawa, Kentucky area, how he's grown up there and raised there, and it's similar to here. I can tell because how he's how he's doing. Obviously we're talking about Matt Robertson, by the way, if you don't know. But he made an awesome showing this week. But Lou's, God, I can't think of what they said. What's faster than a Revo rocket? I think was there. They sent DM, Lou's sent DM messages to 5 or 6 pros, and it's what's faster than? I was like, hey Matt, what's faster than a Revo rocket? And he was like, me losing my virginity. I was like, yes. I was like, that dude is he says what everybody else is thinking. 120. The grass is back. That's not bad. I don't know much about it, man. I've fished down there with you guys a couple times and watched you hand it to me a lot down there. But man, there's some giants in Dewey. You just got to find them. I was fishing.
I've always had luck on a jerkbait there when I've gone, which is kind of weird because the water was warm and I still caught them on a jerkbait.
Dude, one thing I will tell you about Dewey is the water is freaking gin clear. Holy crap.
It is.
It's like green.
Probably got that jerkbait from 300 yards away.
Yeah. They're like, hey, what's that? That kind of looks good. Took them 20 minutes to get there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, $100,000. Actually, you could probably find some cheaper right now because, I don't know what Malone sold his for. I noticed that he doesn't have any back in stock right now. He's probably special order only. But he does, by the way, he has a ton of boats down there that are used in stock. You can check them out at malonesmarine.com. He has a Allison XB down there that's just an absolute glitter rocket. The thing probably 90-mile-an-hour boat, bass boat. I posted on Facebook. I was looking for an Allison SS2000, and somebody tagged him in a post and said he had one, and ended up being an XB, which is a fishing boat. I'm looking for an Allison SS2000, which is it's basically a drag boat, but I've wanted one for a long time, and I'm really getting the itch right now to buy one and fix it up over the sun or over the winter. But they're just so astronomically expensive. There's one for sale right now in West Portsmouth. They want $50,000 for it, and it's like a '97 model. That's crazy. I'm not that deep in it, but I'd like to find one that I could restore. But he does have some new Phoenix Elite X's in stock. They are the berries, man. The new seats that they're putting in those things, phenomenal. I learned the other day that you can get heated seats in both, not only the passenger or the driver, but the passenger seat also, if you want to take care of your buddies. I think it's an extra like $1,500 for that option. You know, you can get them rigged up how you want. You are going to pay for them. They're not icon prices, but they're fairly high. They're like you can get the Elite X or the what was it, the PXE, I think.
PHX.
No, they got rid of the PHX. What you have, right?
Mm-hmm. I think they call it. I think it's like.
Oh, it's called an XE. It's XE is what it is.
Yeah.
It's the same boat. XE is now the PHX, and then you have that Elite X, which, according to Chris, I haven't done any research on it for a while, but he says the Elite or the Elite X is kind of the more sleek, a little bit faster. The gunnels are a little bit thinner, a little bit narrower, a little like not as tall. The XE is going to be the other opposite end of that, like a big water boat,
or big water.
like JR's, just the same deal. Going to have bigger gunnels on it for bigger water, allow for less water coming over the bows and stuff. But he does have several down there in stock. Got more coming in practically daily. And again, he does have some used boats down there that are super nice that he's taking in on trade-in. So if you're looking for a boat, definitely check out Loans Marine.
Yeah, they took great care of me. I mean, I'll text Chris back and forth with a question about, hey man, why isn't this working? I had two graphs up and they were both on the same kilohertz, and he was like, yeah, that's the reason why you got all those lines. And I was like, duh, of course. But little things like that, having that help is really nice, and they kind of give you that support.
Yeah, him and Tyler and the whole crew down there have taken care of you. 3 fish tournaments, 11-2, 1 Sunday. That's awesome, man. Let's just talk about Cameron Dials, the dude we had on last week. And my Lord, dude, the best comment that I've seen on Facebook for a while, and it has freaking won the internet for me. Somebody posted in the Yatesville Bass Fishing Tournament's Facebook page the other day, is like, is anybody having an open tournament this weekend? And the very next comment said, if so, what's second place pay? And I knew immediately what they meant. It was like, you guys, like Paintsville and Yatesville right now are owned by that young man. Like, he is freaking catching them like fire. Like, he's catching, it's 17, 18-pound bags on Grayson, 17, 18-pound bags on Paintsville. And again, we talked to him about it last week with him. He's a scoper. He'll tell you, I'm out there, shaking a minnow at him. He said he likes fishing a jig. I think that's BS. I'm just going to call him out on it. I think but I'm not being derogatory by any means. Like, the kid absolutely wrecks them. So he's one of those deals, like, he pulls up the boat ramp and somebody's like, and it is true, like, I wonder what second place pays. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he really has a chance to do something. I mean, I obviously, I know there's a whole lot that goes into that, but I mean, gosh, I feel like I've never seen somebody be so dominant around here in the little bit of time that I've, paid a lot of attention. And I don't know. I mean, it makes you feel like, man, I wish we could get some support for him, and it'd be pretty cool to see him on the big fishing with the big guys.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that, we talk about it every week, and I'm sure people are tired of me talking about it until I'm blue in the face, but I feel like the F1s in our area bring the ability to have somebody like that make it from here, because there's a lot more area, a lot more money in the area brought by those fish. Speaking of which, like to throw this out here. Been talking about it for the past few weeks here. Still kind of, a hot topic for us here on Another Line, and Jason Kenner and the folks at Anglers for Improving Opportunities. If you don't know, the Kentucky state legislature passed a bill that would allow the Department of Natural Resources in Kentucky to put 5,000 fingerling, I think it was 5 to 8 inch. It wasn't a finger, it was like 5 to 8 inch tiger bass, which are F1. They're Florida strain bass. which grow twice as fast. They can get twice as big. And, it's just like Chickamauga. It's just like Florida. You go down to Okeechobee. It's the same bass, right? It's a different genetic species. It would be like a mutation of a white-tailed deer. It'd be like a blacktail. It's the same, but kind of different. So they got it passed, which took years to get it passed through the state legislature. The legislator said, "Yep, I think it's a great idea. We'll pay for putting 5,000 of them in a lake, several lakes. I think there was like 8 different lakes for 5 years." The Army Corps of Engineers stepped in and denoted the F1 bass as an invasive species, and they have put the kibosh to that. This fellow's name here that's on the screen. If you have some free time tomorrow or later tonight, shoot this guy an email and just ask him for why. My advice is ask him why they're doing this. I will tell you that I have emailed him twice in the last 3 weeks, and I've got 0 response. And he's probably not going to respond to you. Especially, I was professional on both my emails. I wasn't harassing the guy. Obviously, that's not harassing somebody is not going to get what you want done anyway. I just was looking for some answers, trying to figure out why they've done that. And I've had several people comment on my Facebook posts on YouTube and stuff about it, and they say that like the F2s and F3s, which would be genetic mutations of the F1s that are, co-mingling with the pure northern strain, that's where the problem lies. It's not just in putting in F1s. It's like the genealogy down the line that kind of screws everything up. I've not dug into that, but I've reached out to this guy twice, being very polite, asking him, why they're making this decision, and basically just letting him know that, that I'm an avid fisherman, and, I think that they're making a wrong decision. And again, I was very polite and very professional. And if you, have something, if you got 5 minutes tomorrow in between what you're doing at work or sitting on your couch, shoot this guy an email and ask him why. JR, you haven't got a response yet either, right?
No, I never have. I mean, I don't think there's any chance of ever getting anything, but I don't know. I mean, honestly, even if it just comes down to our education, it'd be nice to know the reasoning other than this blanket statement of northern strain, which, is hogwash.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just grasping at straws at this point, and that's weird.
I've somehow made our faces huge, and I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of it. Okay, I figured it out. Never mind.
Made her what?
I zoomed in on our faces, and my face is massive on here, and I'm like, oh my god, get that away from me. Oh, Lord.
What's up, Mark? I don't know if he put this thing up here or not, but yes, we're talking about Kentucky Fish and Game. But the person, the Kentucky Fish and Game are in. They want to do it. They were going to do it, but it's the Kentucky Army Corps of Engineers. It's actually the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, like USACE, United States Army Corps of Engineers. The lake that they were going to put this in is going to be Paintsville Lake, which is it's actually in Paintsville, Kentucky, which is going to be, I guess, south of Louisa. But they were going to put them in there. That was the closest lake to us to get F1s, and the Army Corps of Engineers, who, I assume they own the lake, obviously, because they're the one that putting the kibosh to it, and everybody's listening to them. But it is a Corps of Engineer lake. It's an Army Corps lake, and again, from my limited knowledge, and I'm speaking out of turn here because I don't know exactly, but I'm almost 100% sure that these Army Corps of Engineer lakes are built for strictly flood control purposes. They dam these areas up, and they have them there to lower things down into from winter pool to summer pool, to allow for snow melt and things to keep from washing people out that live in and around those areas. Now, there are some kind of mutual benefits that come with building those. Obviously, we have nice recreational areas where you can take your family out and do some fishing and boating, and there's tournaments and all that stuff. But I feel like that those are kind of secondary to flood control to start with. And that's the problem. They were like, you know what, I am going to try to do this the way it goes. They were going to put this on there, and then the Corps of Engineers like, no, you're not doing that because it's an invasive species. We consider that an invasive species, so you can't do it. And the thing is that when you look at other, like they turn non-native species in there loose all the time. Like they put something like 500,000 threadfin shad in there. They've put rainbow trout in there every year, which are not invasive. They are unnatural or non-natural to the lake. Their claims are, and again, if you haven't watched the episode when we were talking with Jason Kenner a few weeks ago, you definitely should go back there and check it out. But their claims are that introducing that species to the lake will detriment the pure northern strain bass that they claim is what's in Paintsville. Well, nobody's ever done any kind of DNA studies, but I can guarantee you that there is some kind of, it's not 100% northern strain. There's no way. It's just not going to happen. If you look like at Fish Trap Lake, which is where the state record came from right now, they've done some data test on the state record, and it is almost a pure Florida strain bass. It's like 15.5 pounds caught a year and a half ago.
And we're back.
Let's see here. Yeah, I agree with that, Marty. And that's not just Kentucky. I will say, though, I would like to applaud the folks in the Kentucky DNR. I see them in and around working more than I do the DNR in Ohio. Let's take, for example, Lake Vesuvius here, which is, it's really not a DNR problem, but the boat ramp at Vesuvius is so shallow right now that you can't get a boat in the water. Like if you have a kayak or something, you put it in there, but like you have to back your boat like as far like you have your doors in the water to get your boat off the ramp, and it's crazy. But I see a lot of stuff in Kentucky being done. I see them shocking Grayson Lake and trying to do some things. So I will say that Kentucky Fish and Wildlife are at least trying to do something. It's the major factor here in this whole situation is the Corps of Engineers stopping it. They're wanting to put them in there. They're ready to go. They were getting ready to buy some. It was supposed to happen like 2026. It's going to be good. But you're right, Marty. I've rarely heard of any, not only Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, DNR stocking anything related to the black bass species, whether that be spots, largemouth, or smallmouth bass. You never see them putting them in there. You're right. It's always grass carp, catfish, trout, muskie. They do like hybrids. I've seen them put hybrids in lakes all the time. I see them put, muskie for sure, pike. I see them do all kind of crazy stuff. I've seen them turn gar loose one time, which doesn't make sense to me, but it is what it is.
Trash fish, man. Bass is a trash fish to them. I mean, West Virginia has been doing a pretty good job too. I'd have to say to them that they were supposed to. I never saw any releases. F1 bass in I think 4 or 5 lakes in West Virginia. I think it was Stonewall, East Lynn, and a couple other, Summersville, and one other one. I want to say it was Northern West Virginia too. But that passed, and I haven't heard anything else. But it was supposed to start July of this year, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this post. It's been several weeks ago, so it'll take me a minute, so I apologize. But I shared the post here. I believe I shared it on our actual page. I'm not sure. Maybe I shared it on my private page. I'll have to see. But I shared the actual letter from the Kentucky Army Corps of Engineers.
Yeah.
And from what I understood, and apparently I must have shared it from my personal page because it's not here anywhere to be found, and it's not June. It was way after June, so I'll see if I can find it here. But it was basically, they were putting all the blame on the Army Corps of Engineers. Matter of fact, they said if you wanted to get more information to contact the guys whose names I just put it on there. I'm trying to find.
That's what we did.
Yeah, so. We're reaching out.
Yeah, no reach back, but we're trying.
I'm doing a little search here on their page, which is probably crazy. Here it is. So just to read this to you guys, I won't bore you to death with it. You can see it. That's out there. But this letter was sent to the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources. This was sent to Director Dreves from the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Resources Office. It said on July 3rd, the Huntington District of U.S. Army Corps of Engineers District received a Paintsville Lake Fish Management Plan 2025 submitted by the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources, KDFWR. Within the submitted management plan, the KDFWR proposes to introduce 5,000 4 to 8 inch first generation F1 hybrid largemouth bass, Florida bass, into Paintsville Lake annually for 5 years. According to the license between the KDFWR and the District for Fish and Wildlife Activities on Paintsville Lake, the district engineer is responsible for the general supervision and approval of the use and occupation of the Paintsville Lake, including proposals submitted as part of the KDFWR annual management plans. Based on the best available scientific research and concerns from our other state partners in the region, the introduction of F1 hybrid Florida bass presents risk to the native largemouth bass population. Florida bass are genetically distinct species from the native largemouth bass, and interbreeding between the two species can cause a result in loss of the native genetic lineage. If hybrid Florida bass are introduced into Paintsville Lake and interbreed with the native largemouth bass, this genetic shift would be irreversible. The USACE, which is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, invasive species policy defines that an invasive species as a species that is non-native to the ecosystem under consideration for those introduction causes or is likely to cause economic or environmental harm or harm to human health. Because the non-native Florida bass and their hybrids are likely to cause harm to the native largemouth population, the USACE considers the species to be invasive. This policy is in place for the specific purpose of preventing introduction and establishment of invasive species. In addition to the USACE policy, Presidential Executive Order 13751, Safeguarding the Nation from the Impacts of Invasive Species, states the federal agency shall refrain from authorizing, funding, or implementing actions that are likely to cause or promote the introduction, establishment, or spread of invasive species. If you have any questions you'd like to discuss in more details, please contact Brian Given at brian.a.given@usace.army.mil. And that came from the deputy chief of the real estate contracting officer from the Louisville district.
So why did they let it happen in Del Hollow then?
It's not an Army Corps of Engineer lake, is it?
I don't know. Maybe not, but it's a Kentucky lake that's done a lot better since they put it in there. So, well.
Yeah, man. Fishing up here has been tough, but we've had the opposite. We've had very little rain. I can't even remember last time it has rained. It's been 2 solid weeks, it feels like, since we've had any kind of rain here. Which the river is freaking mint looking right now. I love it. It's great. It's about time for it to get blown out again. Yeah, it's a state park, but I still don't think it's a Corps of Engineers lake. I think it's a state park. They could do that. Like, so that'd be if Paintsville was a state lake and not an Army Corps of Engineers lake, it would already have F1s in it because they would just went and dumped them in there.
It says it was made by the United States Army Corps of Engineers in 1943.
Carl's correct here, though. He says most of Dell is in Tennessee, so it would be, Chickamauga-esque. You know what I mean? They don't care down there.
Well, I mean, it's to my knowledge, it's the only. Why are we even saying this? Kentucky Lake. Kentucky Lake has F1s in it, so. And that's
somebody put it on here, and they're right. They did a study on the bass in Paintsville, and F1 DNA came back in the fish DNA, and I that's the whole issue. Again, I don't want to overstep my bounds and say that I'm have any clue about the biology of that, but the only thing that I will say about the F1 species thing is that you can still eat F1 bass. It's not like it's inedible. They're going to eat some of the northern strain bass, no doubt. They're also going to interbreed with that. Now, they are not really worried about that. If you look at the like, for example, they put stripers and white bass in the same place. They stock them, knowing that they're going to interbreed and make hybrids. They're okay with
Same
that.
thing.
Yeah, they're okay with that. Now, when it comes to this, but I think the issue is that, one, again, you can still eat Florida strain bass, even if they interbreed and they're now half Florida strain, half northern strain. In my opinion, looking at the thing, they're going to get twice as big, which means I'm going to have twice as much meat on these fish if I want to take them home and eat them, which I encourage, by the way, especially if you go to Grayson or something right now. Take your limit of small fish out of there. It's the only way we're going to get any bigger fish growing in there. But it's definitely going to make an impact on the environment around here as far as like the amount of money that's spent in our area. I looked online, and if it's online, it's got to be true. There was a study done in 2015 or 2017 about the economic impact of Lake Fork on its own, and they said that it was estimated to put something like $150 some million into the surrounding areas just from bass fishing alone.
Yeah, but that's not trout, man.
Let's see. Mark Shannon. Nolan Lake last Saturday got over 30. Dude. I think that's a great day. I've always thought about the aspect of it. Would I rather catch 1 5 or 6 pound bass a day or catch 20 or 30 that are pound and a half, 2 pounders? 9 times out of 10, I'm choosing that 20 or 30. I'd love to catch a big giant bass, but around here it just doesn't happen that often. Yeah, so Todd, I agree with that too. I mean, the elk stuff is come a long way. I mean, now it's fairly easy to get a tag to hunt elk, and it's great. Like, I've been to places like matter of fact, I heard an elk at Gatesville several years ago. But it's a really cool deal. But you're right. I think you're right about that, and I think Marty's right too. Said it's a money thing, but I think it's probably that too. I think it's probably like I don't think they knew how much it was going to cost to get those Florida strain bass. If you think about 5,000 of them, I don't know what that cost, but they're $1 a piece or more. So they're probably like $5 a piece. So you're looking at 25 grand or something for each year. But where does our money as anglers go? Like, I know it goes to like working on some things and paying the Kentucky Wildlife Division and all that stuff. I get all that, but they don't do anything to like kind of ensure the longevity of the sport either. All right, we're about that 58-minute mark. If you guys have any questions, shout her out down there in the comments, and we'll act like we know what we're talking about and lie to you real good. School does start for me tomorrow. We're going to have less time to edit videos to put them on YouTube, but I got about 5 videos in the queue that I need to edit. So once I get my feet underneath me working at school, it's going to be, I'll be able to edit some more and get it out there. We're going to be doing some more fishing. Hopefully we can get out. I'd like to come down there and fish that one down at Dew with you, Marty. But you guys have a good one too. I hope you guys are having a good Tuesday evening. Appreciate you sticking around and listening to us blab for an hour. Do have some buzz baits for sale. Somebody messaged me, Tommy, if you're watching. I don't know if you watch the show or not. I've been super busy the last couple of days. I will respond to you tomorrow and give you an exact amount of shipping and things, and I'll ship some of those buzz baits to you. I have they're the exact replica of the Little Squeak buzz bait that Greg Drown makes. I did upgrade the hook to a Mustad hook. They're a lot sharper in my opinion than those Eagle Claws he used to use. But it is a 3/16 ounce version. I've had multiple messages this past week if I was going to make some of the bigger versions of the buzz baits. I do have the opportunity to do that. So do that also. I think I have about 100 buzz baits available right now. I'm still waiting on white skirts. I do not have strict white I don't have pure white skirts. Skirts are easily the hardest things to get, and they're not really hard to get, but they're the absolute most expensive part of this whole process. And if I order 500 or 600 of them at once, and I only sell like 50 of them, then I'm going to be in the whole crazy amounts of money. So I was supposed to go to Lake Erie last week, didn't make that happen. I was going to run up to Jan's Netcraft in Toledo and just pick a bunch of them up while I was there because I wouldn't have to pay shipping at that point, but it didn't happen. I do have some of those. I can get you some, man. I can pour some 3/8 for sure. I'll get a hold of you. Be a day or so. I want to get again. I got some stuff going on with work, obviously, and then we'll get back at it. So I'll let you know, Marty. I appreciate it, guys, for sticking around. And we'll, if you can, you guys know the deal. Get out there and lean on them. We'll see you next time on Another Line.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of On Another Line Live. We truly appreciate your support. And we couldn't do it without all the amazing folks at home watching week after week. A big thank you goes out to our sponsors, who help make this show possible. Malone's Marine, Borders Sporting Goods, Solar Bat Sunglasses, Picasso Lures, Shimano, and Columbia Sportswear. Their partnership allows us to keep bringing you the content you love. We'll see you next time on Another Line. Until then, get out there and lean on them.